The ship called Stargazer moved silently through the darkness of space. Inside, 3 young aliens prepared for their first real mission. Zixtar checked the ship's systems one more time. His blue skin reflected the soft lights of the control panel. Next to him, Niluum organized her notes. Her 4 eyes blinked in different patterns as she worked. Veshprit looked out the large window, his thin arms crossed nervously against his chest. "Are you all ready?" asked Senior Observer Krell as he entered the room. His voice was deep and commanding. The 3 junior xenobiologists turned toward their teacher and nodded. "Yes, Senior Observer," they said together. Krell walked to the main screen and brought up an image of a blue and green planet. "This is Earth," he said. "The Galactic Federation has classified it as Death World 7 status. That means it is one of the most dangerous planets we know of. Yet somehow the humans not only survive there but have built civilizations." Niluum raised one of her slender hands. "What makes Earth so dangerous, Senior Observer?" Krell touched. The screen and new images appeared. "Everything. The oxygen in their air would poison most species. Their gravity would crush many of us. Their sun sends harmful radiation. They have huge bodies of water that can swallow entire cities. The ground itself shakes and breaks open. Mountains spit fire, storms with winds that can lift buildings. And that is just the planet. The humans themselves." He paused. "Well, you will see." Veshprit moved away from the window. "And we will be safe in our ship?" "The Stargazer has the best protection systems in the Federation," Krell assured him. "We will stay cloaked and observe from orbit. For closer observations, we will send down remote drones. Under no circumstances will any of you leave this ship or make contact with humans. Is that clear?" The 3 nodded again. "Good. Now your mission is to spend 3 Earth months studying human resilience. You will document how they adapt to their hostile environment. This research is valuable to the Federation. We need to understand how any species can survive such conditions." Zixtar looked excited. "When do we arrive at Earth?" "In 6 hours, Krell said. "But first, you need to meet someone." The large screen flickered and a new face appeared. It was a human male with light brown skin, short gray hair, and glasses. "This is Alan Carter," Krell explained. "He is one of the few humans who know about the Federation. He will help you understand what you observe. Alan, these are my students, Zixtar, Niluum, and Veshprit." Alan smiled. "Nice to meet you all. I look forward to helping with your research." Veshprit stepped forward. "You look very normal. I expected humans to look more dangerous." Alan laughed. "Well, appearances can be deceiving, but I'm just a scientist like you." "How did you learn about the Federation?" Niluum asked. "That's a story for another time," Krell cut in. "Alan will communicate with us through secure channels. He will not join us on the ship." After the call ended, Krell gave each student a datapad. "Study these basic files on human biology and customs. We will discuss them before arrival." For the next few hours, the 3 aliens read about humans. They learned humans had only 2 eyes, no protective scales or shells, and very limited regenerative abilities. Yet somehow these fragile creatures dominated their deadly planet. "This says humans are mostly water," Zixtar said with disbelief. "How do they not dissolve in rain? And they need to sleep for almost a third of each day." Niluum added, "They become completely vulnerable for hours. How have they not been eaten by predators?" Veshprit was reading about human diet. "They eat plants and animals, sometimes raw. Some of these substances would kill us instantly." Krell watched his students with amusement. "This is why Earth studies are so fascinating. Everything you think you know about survival will be challenged." As the hours passed, the blue planet grew larger in their view. When they finally entered orbit, the 3 trainees gathered at the window to see their first Earth sunrise. Golden light spread across the curve of the planet, revealing blue oceans, white clouds, and green and brown land masses. "It's beautiful," whispered Niluum. "And deadly," Krell reminded them. "Beauty and danger often go together." The ship's computer announced they were in stable orbit. Krell activated the cloaking shield and the observation systems. "We will start with simple environmental scans," he said. "Then tomorrow we will send drones to observe human settlements." But the initial scans already showed alarming readings. The atmospheric pressure was far higher than on their home planets. Temperature variations were extreme, from freezing to burning hot. Constant electrical storms moved across the surface. "The humans live in this?" Veshaprit asked, his voice shaking. "Not only live," Krell said, "but they thrive. That is what you are here to understand." That night, while Krell rested, the three trainees stayed up looking at the planet below. They watched weather patterns swirl across the surface and lights from cities glow in the darkness. "I'm afraid," admitted Niluum. "Not of going down there, since we won't, but afraid of what we'll learn about these humans. Any species that can survive this place must be terrifying." Zixtar's eyes never left the view of Earth. "Or amazing," he said quietly. "Either way," Veshaprit said, "I don't think we'll be the same after this mission." In the morning, Krell found them still at the window. "Did you sleep at all?" he asked. They shook their heads. Krell sighed. "Very well. Prepare the observation drones. Today we begin to truly see Earth." As the small drones launched from the ship and headed toward the surface, the three aliens felt a mix of fear and excitement. None of them knew what to expect, but they all understood one thing. They were about to witness something extraordinary. The first images from the drones appeared on their screens. A human city came into view. Tall buildings reached toward the sky. Vehicles moved in organized patterns. Humans walked on pathways, talking and laughing. "They look so normal," Niluum said. "Wait," said Krell. He directed a drone toward a particular building. The image showed humans lifting heavy metal objects repeatedly. They were sweating and straining. "What are they doing?" asked Veshaprit. "Is this some form of punishment?" Alan's voice came through the communication system. "That's a gym. They're exercising." "Exercising?" Zixtar didn't understand. "They deliberately stress their bodies to make them stronger," Alan explained. The three aliens looked at each other in shock. "This," Krell said with a slight smile, "is only the beginning of what you will learn about humans." The next morning, Krell gathered his three students in the observation room. The large screen showed different views of Earth from their drones. "Today we will focus on how humans interact with their environment," Krell said. "Remember to record everything in your data pads." Zixtar, Niluum, and Veshaprit nodded eagerly. After yesterday's glimpse of the exercise place, they were curious to see more. Krell directed one drone to follow a group of humans at a coastal area. The aliens watched as people walked toward a vast body of water. "That is an ocean," Krell explained. "It contains salt water and countless dangerous creatures." The aliens gasped as they saw humans removing their outer coverings and running into the water. "What are they doing?" Niluum asked, her four eyes wide with shock. "Are they trying to die?" Alan's voice came through the communication system. "They're swimming. It's a recreational activity humans enjoy." "Recreation?" Veshaprit couldn't believe it. "But they could drown, or be eaten by ocean predators." "Yes," Alan agreed. "But most humans learn to swim, and they usually avoid dangerous areas." "Usually?" Zixtar repeated. Krell moved another drone to a different location. This time they saw humans climbing the side of a steep mountain without any flying devices. Niluum made a distressed sound. "They'll fall." "Rock climbing," Alan explained. "Another recreational activity. They use special equipment to prevent falling, most of the time." The three trainees looked at each other in disbelief. Krell seemed amused by their reactions. "This is why Earth is classified as a death world," he said. "Not just because of its natural dangers, but because its inhabitants actively seek out those dangers." For the next few hours, the drones showed more shocking human activities. They saw people riding bicycles at high speeds down mountain paths. They watched humans jumping from high places with only thin fabrics to slow their fall. They observed children playing on rapidly spinning metal structures. I don't understand, Veshprit said. Our species evolved to avoid danger. We survived by recognizing threats and staying away from them. But humans evolved differently, Krell said. Their curiosity often outweighs their fear. After a short break, they focused on human eating habits. The drones captured images from restaurants and homes where humans were consuming their meals. Notice what they're eating, Krell pointed out. Many items would be toxic to us. They watched a human male bite into a red plant pod, then reach for water as his face changed color. Is he being poisoned? Zixtar asked with concern. That's a hot pepper, Alan explained. It contains capsaicin, which causes a burning sensation. Some humans enjoy that feeling. Enjoy pain? Niluum looked ill. That makes no biological sense. Many earth plants evolved chemicals to prevent being eaten, Alan continued. But instead of avoiding these plants, humans selectively bred them to be even more potent. They watched more humans consuming various items. Some drank dark liquids that Alan called coffee and alcohol. Others ate foods covered in strong-smelling substances. The caffeine in coffee would kill most Federation species, Krell noted. And alcohol literally damages human brain cells, yet they drink it voluntarily. Veshaprit turned away from the screen. I think I need a moment. While Veshaprit recovered, Zixtar and Niluum watched a drone feed from a human medical facility. They saw humans in white coverings using sharp metal tools to cut open another human who lay still on a table. Are they killing that person? Niluum asked, horrified. No, they're performing surgery, Alan said. The patient is unconscious from medication. The doctors are trying to fix something inside their body. By cutting them open? Zixtar sounded shocked. Don't they have molecular repair technology? No, Alan replied. Our medicine is more hands-on. When Veshaprit returned, Krell directed the drones to observe a human weather event. Dark clouds gathered over a settlement, and bright flashes of electricity split the sky. Water poured down in sheets. Wind bent trees sideways. Most humans stayed inside buildings, but the aliens were stunned to see a few people running through, the storm laughing. What is wrong with them? Veshprit asked. They could be struck by lightning. Some humans find danger exciting, Alan said. It gives them what we call an adrenaline rush, a chemical reaction in the body that can feel good. After 2 weeks of similar observations, the three aliens met to discuss their findings. Krell had given them privacy to form their own theories. I have a hypothesis, Zixtar said carefully. What if humans don't feel pain the way we do? Niluum considered this. That would explain a lot. Maybe what would be unbearable for us is just mild discomfort for them. But they do have pain responses, Veshaprit pointed out. We've seen them get hurt and react. Remember the human child who fell and cried? True, Zixtar nodded. So maybe they feel pain, but they value other things more. Like this fun concept Alan keeps mentioning. They were silent for a moment, trying to understand the alien concept of risking harm for enjoyment. I think, Niluum said slowly, that humans must have incredible mental abilities. Their bodies seem fragile, but their minds let them override their survival instincts. Veshaprit looked troubled. That's not reassuring. A species that ignores danger warnings is unpredictable. Later, they shared their thoughts with Krell. The senior observer listened without comment until they finished. Your observations are good, he said finally, but incomplete. You're still thinking like beings from safe worlds. To truly understand humans, you must try to think like creatures born into constant danger. How? Niluum asked. Imagine if every day of your life you faced multiple threats you couldn't escape. What would happen to your species over thousands of generations? The three thought about this as they watched the screens showing humans going about their lives on the dangerous planet below. We would adapt, Zixtar said finally. Physically or mentally, we would find ways to survive. Exactly, Krell nodded. For humans, danger is normal. It's built into their world and their bodies. They don't seek safety because they never had it. That night, when Krell was sleeping, the three trainees watched more drone footage. They saw humans rushing into a burning building to save others. They observed a human putting their body between a child and an aggressive animal. They watched humans working together to move heavy objects off a trapped person. They risk themselves for each other, Veshaprit whispered, even for strangers. Maybe that's how they survived, Nilum suggested. Not as individuals, but as groups. Zixtar looked thoughtful. I'm starting to think we've been wrong about humans. We've seen them as reckless, but what if that's actually their strength? What if their willingness to face danger is why they've survived on such a hostile planet? They continued watching the screens, seeing their subjects in a new light. These strange beings who swam in deadly waters, who ate plants that fought back, who cut each other open to heal, who ran through storms. Perhaps they weren't foolish after all. Perhaps they were brave in ways the aliens had never needed to be. 1 month into their mission, Krell announced they would shift their focus. You have observed how humans deal with physical dangers, he told his students. Now we will study their social structures. The three aliens looked excited. After watching humans jump out of flying machines and eat burning foods, they were curious about how these strange creatures organized themselves. We will start with a place called a high school, Krell said. According to Alan, this is where young humans learn and develop social bonds. The drones were directed to a large building in a town called Springfield. Hundreds of young humans moved through hallways carrying bags and devices. They segregate by age for education, Alan explained through the communication system. These are teenagers, approximately 14 to 18 years old. The aliens watched as the young humans gathered in different rooms with adult instructors. Some rooms had books and writing tools. Others had strange equipment for experiments or creative activities. Their education system is primitive but effective, Krell noted. They transfer knowledge directly from brain to brain through spoken and written language. That seems inefficient, Nilum said. Why don't they use neural data transfer? Humans don't have that technology, Alan replied, and honestly I'm not sure we'd want it. Direct knowledge transfer might prevent the creativity that comes from individual learning. During a break period, the aliens observed the young humans gathering in open areas. They sat in distinct groups, talking and eating. Notice the social clustering, Krell pointed out. Humans form complex hierarchies based on shared interests, physical attributes, and social status. Zixtar zoomed in on one group. These humans seem to have higher status. Others approached them cautiously. They watched as a larger male human pushed a smaller one, causing him to drop his food tray. Other humans laughed. What just happened? Veshaprit asked, confused. Was that an act of dominance? Bullying, Alan said, his voice sad. Some humans establish social power by harming others. But why do the others allow it? Nilum wondered. In our societies, causing unnecessary harm would lead to group exclusion. Human social rules are complicated, Alan said. As they continued watching, they saw a female human approach the situation. She stood between the bully and his target. Leave. Greg alone, Pete, she said firmly. Nobody thinks you're cool for being a jerk. Other humans watched silently. The bully looked around, then walked away with his friends. Fascinating, Nilum whispered. She used no physical force, yet she changed. The power balance. That's Samantha Wilson, Alan explained. She's what we might call a moral leader. Someone respected for their character rather than physical strength or traditional status. Over the next few days, the aliens continued watching the school. They saw complex friendship bonds, conflicts, romantic pairings, and learning activities. Nilum became particularly interested in human emotional behaviors. They experience feelings so intensely, she noted. They cry, laugh, show anger, all in the same day. How do they manage such emotional extremes? They often don't manage them well, Alan said. Emotional regulation is difficult for humans, especially young ones. Krell directed the drones to other social settings, workplaces, religious gatherings, entertainment venues, and family homes. The aliens were overwhelmed by the variety of social structures they observed. In the Federation, most species have one clear organization system, Zixtar said during their evening discussion. But humans have hundreds of different ways to organize. Some follow strict hierarchies, others are completely equal. Some live alone, others in large groups. There's no consistency. I think that's their strength, Nilum suggested. They adapt their social structures to different situations, just like they adapt physically to different dangers. They were particularly confused by entertainment. The drones showed humans watching moving images of frightening scenarios. Why are they choosing to be afraid? Veshprit asked as they watched humans in a dark room jumping and screaming at a horror movie. They call it entertainment, Alan explained. Experiencing controlled fear in safe settings gives them a physiological response they find pleasurable, like the spicy foods and dangerous activities, Zixtar realized. They seek controlled discomfort. Exactly, Alan said. Think of it as emotional exercise. Just as they strengthen their bodies through physical stress, they may be strengthening their minds through emotional stress. Niluam made notes on her datapad. I'm developing a theory that humans might have evolved emotional resilience as impressive as their physical adaptations. The next day, the drones captured images of a gathering outside a building. Humans dressed in dark clothes stood around a box being lowered into the ground. Many were crying. What's happening? Veshprit asked quietly. A funeral, Alan said. Mary Johnson, a respected member of their community, has died. They're burying her body and sharing memories of her life. They seem in pain, Niluam observed. Grief is a painful emotion, Alan confirmed, but humans choose to experience it together rather than alone. They willingly place themselves in emotionally traumatic situations to build psychological strength, Niluam noted in her research log. Later that week, Krell called the 3 trainees to a private meeting. He looked concerned. Your research is proceeding well, he began, but I'm worried you're becoming too fascinated with humans. The 3 aliens exchanged glances. What do you mean, Senior Observer? Zixtar asked. I've noticed you watching the drone feeds during your rest periods. You're discussing humans constantly. And Veshprit, Krell turned to the youngest alien. I found your collection of human music recordings. Veshprit looked down. I find their sounds interesting. The rhythms and harmonies are unlike anything in Federation music. Krell sighed. This happens sometimes with researchers studying Earth. The humans have a certain appeal. But remember, they are extremely dangerous. On their own world, they may seem admirable. But if they ever reach the stars in significant numbers, would the Federation really consider them a threat? Niluam asked. Any species that thrives on a death world would be a potential concern, Krell said, especially one that seems to seek out challenges rather than avoid them. That night, the 3 trainees talked quietly among themselves. Do you think Krell is right? Veshprit asked. Are humans dangerous to the galaxy? Any species can be dangerous with the wrong technology, Zixtar said. But I've been watching humans help each other more than harm each other. I think, Niluam said slowly, that we need more data before making judgments. We've only seen a tiny fraction of human behavior. They agreed to be more careful with their observations, but none of them could deny their growing interest in the strange creatures of Earth who laughed in the face of danger and cried together in times of loss. As they prepared for sleep, a call came from Alan. You might want to direct your drones to the western region of the continent, he said urgently. There's a natural disaster unfolding. It will show you how humans respond to true crisis. The 3 aliens rushed back to the observation room, eager to see what new revelations Earth would offer. The 3 aliens watched the screens in silent horror. Their drones showed a wall of fire moving through a forested area toward a small town. Trees exploded in flames. Animals ran in panic. The sky turned orange and black with smoke. What is happening? Veshprit asked, his voice trembling. Wildfire, Alan explained through the communication system. They're common in California during dry seasons. This one started from a lightning strike and is spreading fast due to strong winds. Will the humans evacuate? Niluam asked. Some already have, Alan said. Others are staying to fight the fire. Fight it? Zixtar couldn't believe it. How can they fight something so massive? The drones showed humans in protective clothing spraying water on burning buildings. Others used tools to cut down trees in the fire's path. Some drove large vehicles that pushed dirt to create barriers. They can't defeat the fire directly, Alan said. But they try to control where it goes and what it burns. Krell entered the observation room. This is an excellent learning opportunity, he told his students. Watch how humans respond to crisis. For hours they observed the fire's progress and the humans' efforts. Homes burned despite their work. The aliens expected panic, but instead saw organized response. People moved together in teams, following instructions from leaders wearing special uniforms. Fire departments are highly trained units, Alan explained. They practice for these situations. The aliens noticed something strange. While some humans fled the danger, others drove toward it. Why are those humans going the wrong way? Niluum asked. Volunteers, Alan said. Regular citizens offering to help fight the fire or rescue people and animals. They risk their lives for strangers? Veshaprit asked. Yes, Alan said simply. As night fell, the drones showed a school building where people who lost their homes gathered. They sat on mats on the floor. Some cried, others comforted them. Humans in different colored clothing distributed food, water, and blankets. Red Cross volunteers, Alan identified. Another group that helps during disasters. Zixtar focused on 2 humans in particular. A woman organized people into groups, assigning tasks. A man treated injuries with a medical kit. Their names are Charlotte Adams and William Reyes, Alan said. Just ordinary citizens who lived in the neighborhood. They're not emergency workers. Charlotte is a teacher and William is a store manager. But in crisis, humans often find leadership roles based on their skills. They show no signs of giving up, Niluum observed, even though some have lost everything. Humans are remarkably resilient, Alan agreed. Perhaps because their world gives them so much practice at facing disaster. For the next 2 weeks, the alien team observed multiple natural disasters across the planet. They watched a hurricane hit coastal communities, bringing wind and water that destroyed buildings. In another region, they saw the ground shake in what Alan called an earthquake, collapsing structures and cracking roads. In a northern area, a blizzard buried towns under white frozen water. In a desert region, sudden water rushed through dry canyons, sweeping away everything in its path. Does this happen all the time? Veshaprit asked in disbelief. Earth is an active planet, Krell said. These events are normal parts of its cycles. But how do humans live like this? Niluum wondered. The constant threat of destruction. They adapt, Krell said. Watch and learn. After each disaster, the aliens observed similar patterns. Initial shock and fear gave way to organized response. Humans formed groups, shared resources, and began rebuilding. Those with skills helped those without. Strangers took in people who lost homes. Their social bonds activate most strongly during crises, Zixtar noted in his research log. Perhaps their harsh environment necessitated cooperation for survival. The most impressive display came after the earthquake. The drones showed a collapsed building with humans trapped inside. Other humans, some wearing uniforms and others in regular clothes, worked together to move heavy pieces of building material. They formed a line, passing smaller pieces from person to person. They brought machines to lift larger sections. When they found survivors, medical workers rushed to help them. They worked for 36 hours straight, Niluum said, checking the time data. Without stopping. Many will collapse from exhaustion afterward, Alan said. But in the moment, humans can push past normal physical limitations when others need help. The aliens directed a drone to follow a specific rescue team. They watched as the humans found a small child trapped under debris. A woman in a white coat quickly examined the child. Dr. Patricia Gordon, Alan identified. She's been working since the earthquake started. Next to her, a man spoke softly to the frightened child while others worked to free her. That's Kevin Murphy, a nurse, Alan said. He's using psychological comfort while Dr. Gordon handles physical injuries. 36 hours of work, Veshprit repeated. How is that possible without biological enhancements? Adrenaline, determination, and something we call the human spirit, Alan replied. It's hard to explain. Later, the three aliens met privately to discuss their observations. I'm changing my assessment, Zixtar said. I originally thought humans were reckless for their dangerous activities, but now I see that those activities might be training for survival. Exactly, Nilum agreed. Their recreational climbing, swimming, and physical challenges prepare them for real emergencies. And their strange entertainment, the horror stories, and sad tales, might prepare them emotionally for tragedy. Veshprit looked thoughtful. Perhaps we've been wrong to pity them. Their responses to crisis show remarkable strength. And cooperation, Zixtar added. Despite their social conflicts, they unite when facing real threats. When Krell joined them, he noticed their changed attitudes. You're seeing humans differently now, he observed. Yes, Nilum admitted. Their resilience is impressive. Be careful with that admiration, Krell warned. Remember, the Federation has good reasons for keeping Earth quarantined. A species that thrives on challenge, that pushes through limitations, that unites against threats. Imagine such a species expanding through the galaxy. The three aliens were silent, considering this perspective. That night, they received an urgent message from Alan. There's been a traffic accident involving multiple vehicles. Many humans are injured. If you want to see human emergency response at its most intense, direct your drones to Memorial Hospital. Without waiting for Krell's approval, they redirected the observation drones. On their screens, they watched ambulances arrive at a large building with flashing lights. Humans on stretchers were rushed inside by medical workers moving at incredible speed. Inside the hospital, organized chaos unfolded. Dr. Gordon was there again, moving from patient to patient, giving quick instructions to others. Her hands were steady even as blood covered her clothing. Nurse Murphy and others worked alongside her, each focused on saving lives. The aliens watched in silence, their earlier conversation about the dangers of humanity forgotten as they witnessed something else entirely: the power of humans to preserve life in the face of death. 3 months passed quickly. The observation mission was coming to an end. On their final day orbiting Earth, the three alien trainees gathered their research notes and prepared their reports. Before we leave, Krell said, Alan has asked to speak with you one last time. The screen lit up, showing Alan's face. He looked tired but smiled at the aliens. I hope your research has been valuable, he said. What have you learned about us? The three aliens exchanged glances. Zixtar spoke first. When we arrived, I thought humans were primitive survivors on a deadly world. Now I believe you should be reclassified from primitive survivors to emergent advanced species. Your adaptability is remarkable. Niluum nodded. I focused on your emotional resilience. The way humans support each other during crisis is unlike anything in Federation records. I believe we could learn from your communal support systems. Veshprit hesitated before speaking. I've developed a theory that might be controversial. I don't think Earth is a death world that humans survive despite its horrors. I think humans became extraordinary because of these challenges. Your harsh environment forced you to evolve remarkable traits. Alan looked pleased. That's an insightful observation, Veshprit. Many human philosophers have suggested the same thing. Krell frowned slightly. The Federation classifies Earth as a dangerous world for good reasons. The conditions there would kill most species. That's true, Alan acknowledged. But I think your students have discovered something important. Earth isn't uniquely dangerous among planets. It's dangerous in ways that sparked human innovation rather than extinction. Krell seemed uncomfortable with this direction. We should begin our final preparations. The ship leaves orbit in 6 hours. Before you go, Alan said, there's something I should tell you, something the Federation might not have shared. The aliens leaned forward, curious. The Federation has misunderstood Earth all along, Alan said quietly. By galactic standards, Earth is indeed hostile. But it's precisely these conditions that forged our greatest strengths. What do you mean? Niluum asked. Your people fear our world because you see only its dangers, Alan explained. But without those dangers, we wouldn't have developed our resilience, our creativity, our drive to overcome. The very things that make Earth terrifying to you are what made us who we are. The three young aliens looked at each other, processing this idea. There's more, Alan continued. The Federation keeps Earth quarantined, supposedly to protect us until we're ready for galactic society, but I suspect the real reason is to protect the Federation from us. Krell stepped forward. That's quite enough, Alan. You're speaking about classified matters. They deserve to know the truth, Alan insisted, especially since they've spent 3 months studying us. Krell cut the communication abruptly. The screen went dark. Return to your quarters and prepare your final reports, he told his students. We depart soon. The 3 aliens obeyed, but once alone, they discussed what Alan had said. Do you think he's right? Veshaprit asked. Could the Federation be afraid of humans? It would explain the quarantine, Zixtar said, and why our mission was observation only, with strict orders against contact. But humans seem mostly peaceful, Niluum argued. Yes, they fight among themselves sometimes, but we've seen more cooperation than conflict. Perhaps it's not about violence, Zixtar suggested. Maybe it's about competition. Humans overcome challenges. They push boundaries. They never seem satisfied with what they have. They fell silent, considering the implications. Later, as the ship prepared to leave orbit, Krell gathered them for a final viewing of Earth. You will now submit your official recommendations regarding Earth's status, he instructed. This is an important part of your training. One by one, they entered their conclusions into the ship's computer. Zixtar recommended, Earth should be recognized for its unique developmental path. Humans have adapted to dangers in ways that suggest high potential for advancement. Niluum entered. Human social structures show remarkable flexibility and strength during crisis. Further study of their communal support systems could benefit Federation species. Veshaprit hesitated longest before writing. Earth's quarantine status should remain in place, not to protect aliens from Earth, but to protect the Federation from the unstoppable force humans would become among the stars. Krell, read their submissions with a serious expression. Your perspectives show growth. Whether I agree with all your conclusions or not, you have observed carefully and thought deeply. This is what makes good xenobiologists. As the ship's engines powered up, they took one last look at the blue planet below. None of them spoke, but each felt changed by what they had witnessed. 6 months later, the 3 aliens received their official xenobiology certifications. They had passed their training with high marks. Their Earth observation mission was noted as exceptionally insightful. After the ceremony, they met in a quiet corner of the academy. Have you heard the news? Zixtar asked in a low voice. About the human space signals? Niluum responded. Yes. The Federation is concerned. They've developed faster-than-light communication decades ahead of Federation predictions, Veshaprit said. Some say they'll have working interstellar ships within 5 years. Senior Observer Krell approached their group. His expression was grave. I see you've heard, he said. The Council is debating whether to establish formal contact before humans discover us on their own. What will they decide? Niluum asked. I don't know, Krell admitted. There are strong arguments on both sides. Some believe we should guide them into galactic society carefully. Others think any contact at all is too risky. And what do you think, Senior Observer? Zixtar asked. Krell looked at each of them. I think your reports may have been more prophetic than you realized, especially yours, Veshaprit. They all understood the reference to Veshaprit's controversial conclusion about the quarantine. It seems our report comes too late, Veshaprit said softly. The Deathworlders are coming. The 4 aliens stood in silence, contemplating the future. But strangely, the 3 former trainees felt something unexpected alongside their concern: hope. They had seen humans at their worst and best. They had witnessed their capacity for destruction, yes, but also their incredible drive to create, to help, to overcome. If such a species joined the galactic community, everything would change. And perhaps, they each thought privately, change was exactly what the Federation needed. "Whatever happens," Niluum said, breaking the silence, "I believe we were privileged to witness humanity before the rest of the galaxy meets them." Zixtar nodded. "They will reshape the stars, for better or worse. Or both," Veshprit added with a small smile. As news spread through the Academy about the advancing human technology, many reacted with fear, but the three xenobiologists who had studied Earth most closely shared a different feeling. They had seen the horrors of planet Earth, but they had also seen its wonders, especially the remarkable species that called that dangerous world home, and they couldn't help but feel that the universe was about to become a much more interesting place.